Here's my room. And here are my note cards. Have you been considering getting a reptile for the very first time, like a leopard gecko maybe? However, you're probably hesitant to do so because you're worried about not being able to take care of it properly. However, fret no longer, because today I'm going to demonstrate to you how to properly clean a leopard gecko tank, which is very important when it comes to maintaining their health. I've had a leopard gecko for about 6 or 7 months as an emotional support animal, and I clean her tank about every 2 weeks. And by the end of this speech, you're going to know how to remove, disinfect, and replace everything in a leopard gecko tank. So let's get started. The very first step is to remove everything from the tank, as I have already done. The first thing that you want to remove is your leopard gecko. It is very important that you place them in a separate container that has really good ventilation so they're still able to breathe clean air. The next thing that you want to remove from your tank are all the tank accessories, which includes the hides, the plants, the food and water dishes, any type of decorations that you have, you want to remove them. It is also very important when you're doing this step to watch where your hands are being placed, because a lot of the time reptiles like to relieve themselves on their tank accessories, and obviously you do not want to touch that, so be careful. And the last thing that you want to remove is the substrate or whatever flooring you're using for the bottom of the tank. It is important to try to keep all the contents on top of the substrate so that you're not spilling it in the tank, because while it is not the end of the world if it does spill into the tank, but it will probably prolong your cleaning process. The second step to this process is to disinfect everything. First, you want to start off with the tank. What you'll need is some warm water with just a little bit of soap. Warm water works best for cleaning, and the soap that you want to use is either dish detergent or any soap that is safe for reptiles. And all you want to do is you want to take a paper towel and you want to make sure you wipe everything down nice and good. Once you do that, just dry it. The second thing that you want to disinfect are all the hides and all of the decorations for your tank that are plastic. And like I said earlier, reptiles tend to relieve themselves on their hides and any of their accessories, so you want to make sure you wipe these down, because if you have a clean tank, anything else that's going into the tank needs to be clean as well, because they can harvest bacteria and probably make your reptile sick. And then the last thing that you want to disinfect are the water and food dishes. This is where your reptile will be getting its nutrition, so you don't want these to harvest bacteria because that will definitely make them sick. Now, the last step in this process is to replace everything into the tank. So the first thing that you're going to put back in is the substrate. I like using paper towels because they're really easy to clean, they're really easy to scale to the bottom of the tank, and they do a wonderful job at preventing your reptile from getting sick. The next step is to replace all the hides back into the tank. I would highly suggest placing everything back in the same position. That way your reptile is not having to get used to a new environment, which could potentially stress them out. So just replace everything back into the same place as best as you can, just to make it feel like home to them. This up. Alrighty. And the last thing that you want to replace is obviously your reptile. You want to be very careful when doing this because you don't want them to fall out of your hands or jump. Alrighty, and now that you know how to properly clean a leopard gecko tank, you've taken the first step in learning how to properly take care of it. And you might have even found out that it's not as intimidating as it seemed at first.